Thank you for staying with Daybreak. State of the Nation continues right now. In Okango, there was an interesting point from Honorable Katuri Murungi, Senator for Meru, saying that this really is the time for the president to visit. And we know he's supposed to visit from Friday. How significant is this visit? And is it true what Honorable Murungi is saying, that that in itself will be a show of solidarity with the people from that region?
First of all, Trevor, let me reiterate what I said. I said that because of the nature and the sensitivity of what is happening in Sondu, where lives have been lost. Remember, the president took oath of office to protect this country and to protect the Constitution of Kenya. I say that it would be necessary for him to suspend the visits in other regions in Nyanza and specifically focus on restoring, with this team, restoring peace that is lasting in the area that is now affected by these ethnic clashes. That would be important. And Kenyans would be expecting probably our good friend, Professor Kithure Kindiki, our good friend Raymond Omolo, and the president to be very firm and give firm instructions on how to deal with that. Remember, the police has got a duty to protect life and property. And therefore, the president, Honorable Ruto, must ensure that that is done. Secondly, his visits to the region, he has a right, like any other person, to visit any region. And as a representative of the state organs, it is the duty of the state to ensure access to services in all parts of the republic. And that access should be reasonable to extent that is possible. And therefore, that is neither here nor there. What is of concern to the people of Kisumu County today, the people of Kericho County, and generally Kenyans, is that there is a problem that has led to death of people. And those deaths are important because those lives are important because we cannot allow people to die in the name of primitive cultural practices like cattle rustling or theft of cattle. My good senator friend here has said that there's an underlying issue. I agree with him. Those underlying issues must be addressed so that we have a sustainable peace. In fact, I also agree with his proposal of the leadership from the two communities, the leadership from the two counties, together with the national government, must sit down, must go on the ground and address those issues pronto. Okay. That is what we expect.
All right. Have you, as legislators from the Nyanza region, welcomed the president to visit that area? Because this is happening from tomorrow. What is the position?
Thank you. We had a meeting yesterday. Of course, the main agenda was these attacks in Sondu. And at that point, we were also made to understand by one of the members of parliament that Ruto is actually going to Nyanza. And we were hearing it for the first time yesterday night. And we also reached out to our governors who do not have any information as regards these visits. Meaning, therefore, that there hasn't been any official communication channeled to us by the powers that be. And therefore, we have a leadership that has been left behind in terms of planning, in terms of protocol, and in terms of these visits.
I find that statement strange because I was speaking to CS for ICT, Eliud Owalo, and he said that all the regional leaders have been informed of the presidential visit.
I am here as one of those regional leaders. I have not, and we met last night, unless he is calling us this morning, that there is an impending visit, and I'm told it's beginning tomorrow. Now, what I would want to say is that we cannot gag William Ruto, and any other person for that matter, from visiting any part of this country. We have the latitude, we have the freedom, not only enshrined in our constitution, but as an inherent birthright to go anywhere that we would want to visit. And therefore, Ruto has, the freedom to go to Nyanza as and when he feels necessary. We were getting to learn that a few individuals who have since been gravitating towards ODA and Kenya Kwanza government, some of whom we have since expelled from our party, are the ones who are controlling or are in the know-how of this movement of William Ruto towards Nyanza. Now, it is akin to the politics that permeated our system since 2013. Immediately, Jubilee got into power, though I think at the time it was not Jubilee, it was TNA URP. When they got into power, William Ruto went straight to the people of central Kenya, relaunching, I'm not saying launching, I'm using the word relaunching, things that had already been launched by Uhuru Kenyatta. He appeared in 1 million churches, attended 1 million fundraisers, and attended equally 1 million public barazas in the name of political campaigns. At the end of the day, he managed to snatch away my friend Murungi and many others from central Kenya by those constant visits. Yeah. And the narrative that was being peddled at the time is that President Uhuru has abandoned you for Raila Odinga. And that propaganda apparently sold to our people of central Kenya. So at the end of the day, when we were getting into elections proper, Murungi and company had already joined Ruto's bandwagon and moved away with him. He's trying to employ the very tactic within the Luo Nyanza region. He has, and you have mentioned one of them, together with those who have since decamped ODM and have been expelled and are not part of us. And we expected that if the Political Parties Act was to be applied, then we should be gravitating towards another by-election in those regions. But that is not properly going to happen for reasons that are obvious. So he is now trying to engage with these people directly, bypassing Raila Odinga the same way he bypassed Uhuru Kenyatta, hoping that at the end of the day, and he still has 4 years, that he will turn around Luo Nyanza. Remember that this government has resigned from actively participating in economic endowment of our nation. They have said we are defeated, we cannot run this economy. They have said we cannot run the peace of our country, but let us focus on 2027 campaigns. Last week, there was a National Governing Council, I think NDC, of URP, not URP, but UDA party. And the president, a symbol of unity, was donning political parties' colors. A president who has 4 more years in office. What does that tell you? That they are in campaign mood proper, 1 year into office, they cannot do anything. And if Kenyans are still hoping that Ruto will turn around the economy of this country, then you're living in utopia. Okay. So the visits by Ruto to Nyanza are not known to us as a leadership. We also talked to the party leader of ODM and, as a mere coalition leader. He's not privy to the visits in Nyanza. And therefore, those who are ready to show up in those functions can just show up because it is a democratic right. But we do not endorse those kinds of things.
Murungi, is this a political or a development tool?
You know, Trevor, my friend here is digressing from your just a straightforward question whether he is aware that the president is visiting Nyanza to campaigns and 2017. I think what I can say is that, number one, about that region, the first question you had asked them is that the CS and the PS, when there is a crisis in any part of the country, the president himself does not necessarily need to go there physically because he has his team. As I put it, the CS is a very competent Professor Kindura Kindiki. He has Mr. Omoro, who is the PS. They are really coordinating their security team. There is the regional security team, which should really be on the ground. So the president shouldn't be left to do other things, but it is important to address that issue when addressing other concerns in Nyanza region. Number two, let me say that, you know, when I was coming, and tuned in Citizen. And I heard my colleague Jared say that the elected leaders who gravitated towards UDA will be visited. What I can say is that, you know, the president is maybe visiting a specific constituency, not all the constituencies in Nyanza. And I am very sure the governors in those counties must be aware that the president will be visiting the counties. And therefore, if maybe I don't know whether the president will be in Nyando specifically, so that now the member also can be there. Sometimes even when visiting Meru County, not even, you know, now you are talking of 4 counties, I think it's 3-4 counties in the Nyanza region. But even when he's visiting Meru, sometimes I don't, maybe I might be busy doing other things and then he can visit, which is still okay. So as long as the leadership is aware, the county and the members who are concerned in that particular constituencies. So let me also say that let us correct this issue that when we have a president, it is not possible to work with him as an elected leader. I will advise my friend, because he is also elected like me. It is important to represent your people, even to seek resources from the national government, because they are taxpayers. You should not run away from the government because your party did not form the government. You should go knock those offices. And they usually do, by the way, even from here.
Speaking, those resources are not supposed to be.
Even from here, Trevor, I think my friend will be going to the Ministry of Water, Ministry and other state departments, just to follow up. You know, it is good also to identify the concerns of your people, then you present them to the government. You can only present your issues through the ministers who are in charge of those departments and the PSs. So it is good also to go and share your enrollment agenda with those who are involved in this.
Okay.
So it is important that, and also you should consider the ODM party maybe suspending this expulsion from the party because they have expelled some members from the party. They should consider that, and then let us build one Kenya.
Okay.
Let us build one Kenya, one country. I'm trying to think whether maybe, if at all, by any chance, this Azimio coalition won the elections and I'm the Meru senator, could I have run away from this government, their government, as a Meru senator? I don't think I could do that, because my people need to be, they need development. Okay. So I think I could have, through the leadership, we could have agreed on how to work with this other coalition that won. Okay. So just running away together to me is not the best.
Okango, what is wrong with the head of state visiting a region? This is the 3rd time, actually. A region that are apparently have been tagged non-shareholders. Isn't this now the best time to go and show that there's no such thing as shareholding in this government? I'm a president of all people, and that's why I'm coming here for the 3rd time. What is wrong?
Trevor, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that anyone who sits on the seat of the presidency is a symbol of national unity in action by word, in appointment, in delivery of services. But let me go back to what Senator Murugi is saying. You know, it is not the duty of members of parliament or senator or even MCA to walk to State House and beg for development. Development is delivered in terms of services. The state shall ensure reasonable access to services in all parts of the republic to the extent that is possible. That is what the law says. And therefore, those services, they can get them, whether they're in opposition or in government. Number 2, the members of parliament sit in parliament to legislate, represent, and oversight. In their representation, they also make laws that should ensure that in terms of adequate distribution of resources, their people are covered. That is why they address issues of concern to the people. They are the people's representative. But there's no law says that you must go to State House to ask for development. Number 3, our good senator here has also said that Honorable Ruto is visiting specific constituencies. That is true. He's visiting Game, he's visiting Suba, he's visiting Kisumu County, he's visiting Bondo. Those, if you look at the rebels in ODM, for example, that in any case have not been expelled. They have not been expelled. If I'm to quote my coalition leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, he said that those members were not expelled, but in interpretation of the law, they were deemed to have resigned because the Section 14 of Political Parties Act says that if you are a member of another party and you demonstrate that you advance the ideology, the philosophy of another party, you shall be deemed to have resigned. I think in my view and in my interpretation of the law, that is what the ODM leadership did. Number 3, we cannot sit here and pretend that this is not 2027 campaign. We cannot. Honorable Kello said a few days ago, Honorable Ruto and his team, 1 year after election, were at Bomas in their party leadership meeting, donning yellow colors and telling the people of Kenya and the world that they are now preparing to strengthen their party. A good thing. But look, at what expense? At the expense of the suffering majority of Kenyans. So when he goes to Nyanza, which he is welcome, and I repeat, those services, he is sitting in that seat, and every Kenyan has a right. Forget about those who are saying shareholding. Kenya is not a shareholders company. Kenya is a republic. Yeah. And therefore, those shareholding, those are things that Kenyans are not even listening anymore. If you notice, my good friend Osoro, who was supposed to be here, has already changed tune. He said they should now stop talking about this issue of shareholding. Kenya is one. And now, I want to repeat, for us who come from that region, we pay taxes like any other person, and therefore we have a right to enjoy those services and those development. Okay. But we don't have the luxury of going to beg for them because it is a right like any other Kenyan.
All right, okay.
Well, the more things change, the more they just remain the same. Article 10 of our Constitution talks more about the values of a nation. And the values also incorporate treating people the same way. And it was not as a vain to have put a whole chapter 4 on freedoms that people need to enjoy. Talking about that, in the olden days, during KANU, Baba na Mama, people used to troop to State House asking for development. And for those who are not in good books with the politics of the day, had their region sidelined. And by the way, that is why Luo Nyanza has lagged behind to date. Because any establishment that comes into power would want you to live kneeling down. And when you kneel, you eat. When you stand like Luos, you are denied the opportunities. So we put into our new constitutional order a provision on county governments where 15% of the national revenue is channeled to our counties. The essence was what stemmed from the past political undertakings, that even though you may be aligned to a different political leaning, your 15% is a matter of right. Your governor will still get that money so that you can propagate your own development agenda from your regions. Now, the government still has a huge percentage stuck here at the national offices. And that is why my brother Murungi is asking me to go knock at those doors, because those resources are still there. Now, in the bipartisan talks that are ongoing, and by the way, when we were promulgating this new constitutional order, though not as new as it was before, people said 20% had pitfalls that needed to be looked into, but we had to pass it anyway. The proposal that was advanced then, and that is now gaining traction, is to have the county allocation move to 35% from 15%. So that these issues of asking me to go and knock at certain doors in order to, get development, that is what they call it. I don't understand. But talking about development, when President Uhuru was retiring, there are certain things that were in the pipeline, one of which was Korusoin Dam. I am a victim to perennial flooding, and by the way, with the impending El Nino, my people are not at ease. They do not know what they are going to do, and they have been abandoned by their state that needs to be addressing those kinds of issues. So Korusoin Dam began during Uhuru Kenyatta's time. And there was a seed money that was put into it at 1.5 billion shillings. And the work started. When Ruto came into power, even if you look at the budget line now, 2023, 2024, and 2022, 2023, that money does not appear anywhere. Now they are talking about reviving Kimwarer and Aror Dam. Now that aside, there was this road called Kisumu Mamboleo Muhoroni Road that had started. When Ruto came into power, the money that was allocated to it was taken away. Now that road has since stalled. Now we have a few elements within us who say they're trooping to State House in order to get development. Some of them, I'm only talking about two issues here that touch on Kisumu as a county. Part of the team that trooped to State House to look for development come from Kisumu County. Now, these projects have stalled, and they are still telling us that we are with William Ruto in order that we can get developments. Now, remember, Okango, my friend here, has put it into perspective that they are deemed to have resigned. Now, when the ODM's National Delegates Conference met, and they were communicated to on the dismissal, the following day they were in State House with William Ruto. So what is Ruto trying to tell you? That whereas you may have no business with them, I have absolute business with these characters.
All right.
But let me finish by saying, when leaders, just one second,
can talk
when leaders,
let's give him a minute.
every time Ruto is going anywhere, including Meru, all Meru leaders are called to State House to harmonize a program and come up with a calendar of events.
Okay.
Every time, anywhere, he was in Western Kenya just the other day, all Western leaders were called to go there to do so.
But you have not.
Now we do not know anything, and they still expect us to embrace anything that we don't know.
Yes. Trevor, Honorable Jaren is talking on one side of the mouth and the other side. You see, he's now complaining that he has not been invited to State House to harmonize the program. And those who are seen in State House have been expelled from the party. What I can say is that, these things he said on TV, national TV, are very critical. I've been to Ruo Nyanza. If you go to Ruo Nyanza and compare the road network in Ruo Nyanza and the road network in Mount Kenya East, where I come from, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, and Meru, you'll be surprised. I want to do some research and I'll come back here and report. The last 10 years, the number of kilometers that have been done in Ruo Nyanza and the number of kilometers that have been covered in Mount Kenya East. I'll bring that research here, Trevor, if you allow me, after 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time.
Agreed.
I mean the region engineers to be factual, because we must tell Kenyans the truth. There is no region which is left behind. Since actually William Ruto became the deputy president in 2013. And they have worked harmoniously in all these regions regardless of the political affiliation.
Yeah.
And let me say that by visiting Nyanza, that is a good show to the president. That he is covering every corner of this country. Whether you are in his party or not, development must come. Even to Nyando, my friend Jared, you know the much the government is doing actually to end this problem, the perennial problem of the flooding in Nyando. And I was with you in the last parliament, and I know how you are really focusing also with the CSCs to make sure that you get resources for Nyando people. So let me say that working with the government is not a bad thing, because even your coalition leader should be able to realize that now the President William Ruto, His Excellency William Ruto, is the president of the country. Yeah. And if they are doing bipartisan also should go to discussions, including development programs, because this is a good thing. Actually, the two teams are talking, the Kenya Kwanza and also the Azimio coalition. We are in discussions on so many things affecting the country. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to development, why shouldn't you victimize members or leaders who are going to the president to give in their recommendations for development in their regions? Why should you have any problem when somebody is seen with the Kaduri Murungi because he is from Kenya Kwanza? I think we should depart from that ideology and focus on how can Kenya develop.
All right.
How can we move from point A to point B together as a country? All right.
Let me bring in some feedback coming through, then we talk
and
about
also I'll ask my friend also, yes. Jared. You know the president is not Ruto. You know, just give him his titles that he deserves.
Which is?
His Excellency President.
Oh, man. No, this guy is stuck in Kanu days. Yeah.
Let's see the feedback and see.
Oh, man.
We're going to talk about shock cabinet reshuffle. And Trevor Mpija use the hashtag daybreak. Let's bring that up and see what you're saying online here. Brian Chemwa says, while insecurity in Kenya is a concern, it's possible that the government believes contributing to international peace efforts aligns with its foreign policy goals and obligations. Governments often balance domestic security with responsibilities in international community. Okay? Remy Butia says, Sondu border inter-ethnic conflicts have negatively impacted the socio-economic livelihood of the people there. The government should establish a permanent rapid deployment unit in Sondu. Okay?
Good idea.
Engineer Zaro says, on Bokelo, President Ruto should take advantage of his planned Nyanza tour to address Sondu security issues. How will he manage to convince Nyanza to embrace his style of leadership with such kind of aggressions? Okay. Chalu Woodrozi says, the clashes happening between the borders of Kisumu County and Kericho County is uncalled for. People should stop killing each other like wild animals. Before lending hand to Haiti, the government should ensure that our country, Kenya, is safe and secure. Ole Shonko says it is sad that we are experiencing border attacks in this day and age, be it political or caused by resources. This is uncalled for. Kabla waende Haiti, says, wapitie Sondu. Yes. Lillian Sioi says the killings in Sondu are not a tribal fight between Kipsigis and Luos. There is need to investigate local leaders who could possibly be trying to instigate tribal wars. Okay. Babu Michael says the clashes in Sondu are very unfortunate. My most worry is that the national government has really concentrated on sending security officers to Haiti, while unfortunate deaths are being recorded in our own motherland. Okay. Now let's talk about the front page of the Daily Nation and the Standard as well. Shock cabinet reshuffle, Musalia's big win.